San Francisco, California. It's been nearly 3 years since the Warriors fan base has seen their team clinch a playoff series at home. And tonight, the Warriors will have a chance to do just that. All eyes will be on that man right there, Steph Curry, coming off his lowest scoring performance this decade. How will the greatest shooter ever bounce back with a trip to the second round on the line? We know the Rockets will be ready, but history not on their side. In the nearly 80 years of the NBA, only 13 teams have overcome a 3-1 series deficit. Can Houston be the 14th? We're counting you down right here on ESPN. But to force a Game 7, the Rockets are going to have to get the win as underdogs. Golden State is favored by 5.5 points. They are 3-0 as favorites so far this series. As we welcome you inside our Los Angeles studio, Bob Myers was a part of each of the last 24 playoff series victories here for Golden State. Kendrick Perkins knows a thing or two about winning in the postseason. And Stephen A. Smith, he has never lost an elimination game. But in all seriousness, this is why we love the game, Stephen A. The stakes are the highest. 48 minutes, it can be the difference between a trip to the next round and a hostile environment on the road.
Well, listen, when you saw what happened in the previous series, I mean, if you go to the state of Houston, you know Minnesota's waiting. And the reality is that if you go to state, you want to get things over with, get some rest, get Steph Curry as healthy as you possibly can get, and be ready to roll. You're Houston, you're trying to survive and push this back to your home floor for a Game 7. You're young, you're athletic, you've got defensive prowess, you're exceptionally well coached, you have the personnel for the most part to win this series if dudes show up. And since you were able to push this to a Game 6, you're going on the visiting floor against one of the all-time greats in Steph Curry. And we're going to see how you handle that.
I have some questions. Can Şengün continue to lead them in points, rebounds, assists, and steals? Can Jalen Green, he's shooting 29% on jumpers. Obviously, that's not going to work. Can Fred VanVleet continue the torrid shooting? Dylan Brooks shooting 44% in the series. Can that continue? Also, can the Rockets play big? They're plus 31 when Steven Adams and Şengün are on the court together. Curry's been more contested in this series than in any series under Steve Kerr. 70% of his shots are heavily contested. And can Jimmy Butler be playoff Jimmy? He has career averages in the playoffs on all the major statistics that are much better than the regular season.
Well, the one thing we do know is that the defensive culture that the Rockets have is going to travel, no matter where they playing at. In the Toyota Center, the Chase Center, the YMCA, wherever is going to be there, right? And we saw at home the others made shots. We saw Thompson twin, what he had, 25. We saw Dylan Brooks have 24. Now, all of a sudden, it's time for the role players, the others of Golden State at home, because we know role players play better at home, to match that energy. We saw in Game 3, Buddy Hield, he came off the bench. He was impactful, double figures. Gary Payton II, he was impactful, double figures. But I'm going to go to it again. Who's going to shut the water off of Fred VanVleet? A champion. Or one that broke up a happy home with Bob Myers. He did. He was on the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah,
he broke up a happy home when they won the championship.
How about Achilles' tear helped?
I mean, we can.
But what I'm saying is he's been hot. He's been averaging 25 over the last 2 games. So when you question the Rockets and their shooting, he's the one guy that's been shooting at a very high level over the past 2 games.
One thing I know is that the stakes don't get higher than this. Let's just take a visit to how we got here, how the Warriors got to this 3-2 series lead. In Game 1, Jimmy Butler, he led the way, 25 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, and 5 steals. Golden State stole home court advantage here. Steph Curry, he added 31 points. The Warriors controlled the final moments of the fourth quarter here. But the Rockets, they fought back to tie the series in Game 2 behind Jalen Green, who became the youngest Rockets player with a 35-point playoff game. He finished with 38 in that one. It's also the game that Jimmy Butler left in the first quarter with a pelvic contusion. And that kept him out of Game 3 here. But the Warriors, they were still able to take a 2-1 series lead. After Steph Curry, he went off for 36 points. Buddy Hield, Gary Payton II, they combined for 33 points off the bench as well. Game 4, that's the only one that's been decided by single digits in this series. The Warriors won by 3 after Draymond Green held off Alperen Şengün in the final moments, and Jimmy Butler skied in for that rebound. Now, the Rockets are down 3-1 heading into Game 5, but extended the series after winning by 15 points in this one. Kerr, he pulled all his starters halfway through the third quarter, which led to Curry having just 13 points, his fewest in a playoff game since 2019. But something that caught the eye of the NBA world, it wasn't just his abdominal stat line. It's that thumb doesn't look normal on his shooting hand. This is a social media post by the Warriors from before the game. Steph, he was asked about that image after the Dubs Game 5 loss.
State of your thumb right now?
Cold.
There was a picture, I don't know if you've seen it online, where it looks pretty swollen. I think it was with you walking to the plane.
You got the feds on me? What are you talking about? I don't even know how to answer it. It's just something you're dealing with and you keep it moving. As long as I can play. You got to rap for a reason, but that's it.
Do you feel it's impacting your game at all?
No. No. Not at all.
It looked like there was maybe just a little bit of hesitation as he said, no, not at all here, as we say hello to our senior insider, Shams Charania. Shams, how is Steph Curry fighting through this? What is his status for this game?
Malika, right now, Stephen Curry will play, but what he deals with is irritation at times, and it's really whenever that thumb gets hit. But this is a contact sport. That's a part of it. He knows that. And I spoke to some Warriors sources today, and they told me that Stephen Curry is fine. He's fine enough to play. He's not even on our injury report. And for his part, I'm told Stephen Curry has told people around the Warriors and people around him even this week that, yeah, it hurts, but I'm not talking about this. I'm not here to discuss this. I'm here to just play. I'm just playing on this. I'm just playing through it. And that's his mentality. He's just going to continue to play on. I do expect him to get that re-examined after the season. But right now, Stephen Curry, he's not using that as an excuse. He doesn't even want to talk about it.
Right. You can kind of hear him saying that, you know what, no, it's not bothering me at all. And we know that in these moments, Steph Curry, he's going to lock in no matter what bumps and bruises he's dealing with. Shams, thank you so very much. We're going to see you a little bit later in the show. But one person who's well aware of what Steph is working through is Dillon Brooks. The Warriors home broadcast pointed out this sequence from Game 3 where Brooks, he took multiple swipes at Curry's shooting hand. You can see it right here. And Steve Kerr and Brooks, they both weighed in on whether or not that's fair game.
Players all over the league are just taking shots at guys' shooting hands after release because they know it's not going to be a foul. And I'm very confident that next year the league will fix it because it's only a matter of time before somebody, breaks a thumb or breaks a hand or whatever. But these are the rules.
If you're going to come play the game injured or whenever you got, it's all about the game. If I had an injured ankle, I would attack that ankle every single time. So, whatever they're saying on the broadcast, they can keep saying it.
I mean, should we just call this a good old-fashioned thumb war here, Perk?
Yeah, and guess what? Dillon Brooks is right. I mean, look, everything is in play when you're in the postseason. When you're trying to win, you're trying to advance. Damn right, he should be swiping at that thumb of Steph Curry. I would. Yeah, and just to play mind games, even if you don't hit it, you still got to be swiping at it. And then again, look, I don't want to hear that from Steve Kerr. Now, all of a sudden, the league needs to investigate and look into it. You have a player, Draymond Green, that didn't choke people out and did way worse things. Like, get out of here with all that nonsense. I'm with Dillon Brooks on this. Damn it, if you out there and you wounded, if I'm a defender, I'm going to attack those wounds. I'm going to do everything in the world to walk out of there with a win.
Well, Steph says he's fine. And I thought Danny Green on NBA Today the other day, Stephen A., kind of pointed out that when you're shooting, it's more your index and middle finger that is going to make contact with the ball. But when you're dribbling, when defenders are swiping at you, and you see the proofs in the pudding, just 15 points in his last 2 games, less than 30% shooting from deep.
29% from three-point range. But here's the deal. That's competition. Dillon Brooks is absolutely right. I'm competing. I'm trying to beat you. It's almost like somebody's sick and you're sick and you got the flu and you can't run. What are you going to do? You're going to try to make him run. You want him to throw up. You want him to get sick. You want him to have to leave the game. You want to exploit and take advantage of any kind of weakness they present to you. If somebody shows up on a basketball court, I've seen shooters showing up on a basketball court with a knee problem. And somebody, instead of jumping up to try to block this shot, they act like they're diving at their knee. They don't do it, but they act that way because they want you to flinch. They want you to because they know that you're sensitive. You have a deficiency that they want to exploit. It's about finding your weakness and then squeezing. That's how you win a lot of times. And anytime you're competing against somebody, that's what they're going to do to you. So for this to be a subject matter is utterly ridiculous.
I mean, how do you think Steph's going to adjust? Because ultimately, right, that's what it comes down to.
Steph will adjust. Steph is Steph. He is the greatest shooter God has ever created. And he's ultra talented. He'll figure out a way to do it. But even if he doesn't, tough. That's how it goes. It's competition.
One of the reasons I love Steph so much is he's not making an
Right.
excuse for it. You know how many NBA players would be up there without ice, putting their thumb for everybody to see?
Yeah.
He's not making any
Talk about one of the
excuse.
greatest players ever lived that would definitely
Well,
go
look,
ahead.
Curry, I loved his response. He said, it's not bothering me. As far as what Brooks is doing, that's gamesmanship, whatever. If somebody says, any player, that you're trying to hurt somebody, that's where I draw. And I don't think he's saying that. I don't think he's saying that. But if it crosses the line of, I'm trying to hurt someone, I have a problem with that. Now, I'm not saying Brooks is saying that, though.
Well, Bob, I've been saying this all week long, right? We know that Steph is injured, has a swollen thumb, right? If you're Steve Kerr, and Dan, like you said, Malika, Danny said it can affect your dribbling. You're being guarded by Thompson, right, who's picking you up 94 feet.
Had a heck of a game 5.
How about taking Steph off the basketball? Because trying to run high pick and rolls, it don't work against Şengün and Steven Adams, because both of those guys are really, really good at trapping the pick and roll. So get Steph easier looks, more catch and shoot, and less off the dribble shoot, in my opinion. And that's how you kind of,
Yeah, look at those stats on the screen, right? First 3 games, 45% from 3, 29% in the last 2. Did something happen after game 3? I don't think so. Maybe he just had a couple off nights. I don't know if that was his thumb or not. So to me, Curry is, you know what? Here's the thing. No one cares, right? We got to talk about it. I get it. But if the Warriors don't win, or Steph plays great or bad, or if you win or lose and you say, well, my thumb, no one cares. All they're going to care about is who won the series and who wins this game tonight.
And then you got to think about this, right? Going back to Dylan Brooks' point. What did we see in the Lakers game when Luka went out with his back injury? When he returned, they were already searching him out, but he went to another level. Like, no one cares.
Right.
No one cares. They're going to find you, but this is a moment for Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler the one forced his way out of Miami. Pat Riley had some help in it, but he wanted to go to a championship team and compete. He's the one that has uplifted this squad as a bona fide second option.
I don't think there's any reason to question Jimmy Butler, though. He got hurt, came back, had 27, 14 in the fourth quarter, and then they just lost his game 5. They just didn't show up to play collectively, and they threw in the towel. They was ready to close this out in game 6. That's how they played in game 5.
Listen, big bro. I'm not saying. What I'm saying is, if Steph is dealing with this thumb injury, and Bob just pointed out his shooting percentages, this is the moment that Jimmy Butler needs to.
You know what I love about this game? We're going to find out. We're going to find out, right? We're going to find out all this stuff.
And
I love it.
Keeping an eye on his thumb is something all of us should do as well. Hey, coming up here on NBA Countdown, today it became the official end of an era. San Antonio announced that Gregg Popovich will no longer be the head coach of the San Antonio Spurs. The impact of an all-time great. That's next on NBA Countdown. Basketball Hall of Famer Gregg Popovich will no longer coach the San Antonio Spurs and is transitioning to a full-time role as the team's president of basketball operations. That's what the team announced. Now, Popovich suffered a mild stroke November 2nd. He did not return to the sidelines this season. And he released a statement today saying, quote, while my love and passion for the game remain, I've decided it's time to step away as head coach. I am forever grateful to the wonderful players, coaches, staff, and fans who allowed me to serve them as a Spurs head coach. And I'm excited for the opportunity to continue to support the organization, the community, the city that are so meaningful to me. So for more on this news out of San Antonio, let's bring back Shams. Shams, what led to Pop's decision to step down at this time?
Malik, as much as Gregg Popovich pushed and wanted to return as an NBA head coach, I'm told he came to the conclusion that it would be too taxing of a grind to get back on the sidelines, particularly after that stroke that he had in November. And on a human level, he is recovering. He is doing much better. But the stress, the burden, the tension day to day that goes into NBA head coaching, it was just too much for him to come back to. So he made the decision this week, informed all of his players, past and present, that he is stepping down from a 29-year run, 5 championships, all-time winningest coach, 22 straight playoff years in San Antonio. So an end of an era, but it is a start of another. I'm told he's been present already this week in the Spurs facility. He's been going in there, meeting with staffers, meeting with Mitch Johnson, and he's going to continue to be a big part of that organization on a day-to-day basis operationally. But this is a massive change for the NBA. No Gregg Popovich on the sidelines ever again.
The end of an era, certainly my time covering the NBA, my time as an NBA fan, it has all been dotted with Gregg Popovich on the sidelines, and now he's transitioning to the front office. Shams, thank you so very much for that. The wins, the championships, the gold medal, the accolades. I certainly think about hiring Becky Hammon and stepping out on a limb in a time where we did not see women as coaches in the NBA, rather. But Stephen A., when it comes to Pop's impact, what do you remember most?
Hey, listen, I tell you this, and I affectionately say this. I call him a big phony, and I laugh about it because he comes across as having this truculent, acerbic type of attitude. He's one of the classiest, most conscientious, most decent human being I've ever known. He's an incredible coach. And back in the day, to show my age a little bit, once upon a time, I actually sat down and I had lunch with Popovich one-on-one in Utah, just hanging out because we was in the same hotel. And, you know, he was schooling me about the NBA and about what it takes to really, really succeed in the NBA, but not just as a player, but as a coach and as a young man. And you remember all of those things as you grow up, and some of the times you make the mistakes, but the reason you know it's a mistake is because of the words of wisdom people like him imparted upon you. And I knew that covering Larry Brown for the Philadelphia 76ers, being a beat writer for the Philadelphia Inquirer, Larry Brown loved this man. Popovich was a protege of Larry Brown's. And I remember when Popovich won his first ring. Yeah. And the season opener the following season was the 76ers against the San Antonio Spurs. And Popovich walked over to Larry Brown, a mentor of his, and sat down and shared the ring with him because Larry Brown had yet to win at that particular moment in time. And that was what inspired Larry Brown to depart from Philadelphia, ultimately end up in Detroit and capturing his first ring because he was Mr. Fix-It, but he had a ring on the NBA level. But once he saw Popovich do that and Popovich talked to him and what have you, you knew what was going on. It was tremendous. It really was. Popovich is great.
Yeah. I think the best coaches are the best teachers. And I think just listening to people that were in that organization, that are in that organization, that play for him now, that played for him in the past, he left a mark. Not just in basketball for all he did, and he clearly one of the best, if not the best coaches, one of the best coaches ever to coach. But he left a mark as a person. Talking to people there, he would talk to them about stuff outside of basketball. I asked Steve Kerr one time if I could meet Pop while I was working with the Warriors in my early days. And he set it up, and I remember going to have, I think, a drink with him. And the truth is, I was scared. I was scared. Yeah. Not he was going to do anything to me, but I was scared. I'm usually not scared going into a meeting with somebody. And I asked him, I said, how do you balance your family with the magnitude of these jobs? And he said, what do you mean? I said, I'm struggling. He said, your family is always way more important than all this stuff. And I knew that, and I believe that. But to hear someone as accomplished as him, we don't say that as much in this industry as maybe we should because everyone makes this the biggest thing and the most important thing. But it was a great reminder for me that is the most important thing.
Well, my story with Pop actually happened when I was 18 years old. Sam Preston used to drive down to Old Beaumont, Texas, when he was a scout for the San Antonio Spurs and watch me in high school. And during my draft workouts, I had to go to San Antonio, right? And so when I got there, Pop was in there, and he said, hello, you ready to work? I said, yeah, I'm ready to work. And he said, well, one, go to the weight room. So first thing that they did was body fat, right? I didn't pass the test. So my entire workout changed and was straight conditioning. And I remember Pop said, I'll see you in about a month for your second workout because the plan, Bob, you know, they had the late first round pick at the time and they was going to pick me. But that woke me up. And the next time that I worked out in front of Gregg Popovich, you know, I got a guarantee from the San Antonio Spurs. So he's always been that truth teller.
Right, because he's someone who demands excellence as well.
Just forgive my curiosity. Would you mind informing us of what
Don't
the body
do that.
fat
Don't do that. That's over the line.
Could you inform us about what the body fat was when you came back a month later?
You don't have to answer.
Yeah.
Well, you can do that.
I didn't ask what it was originally.
I'll tell you, I'm not ashamed. You know what I mean? I'm comfortable being.
Could you answer the question?
Yeah, I was at 26%.
Okay.
And when I came back, I was at 15%.
See, it's because a Gregg Popovich demands excellence. And it's not just of players, it's of reporters as well. He is someone who, whenever I was interviewing him, is someone where you have to be that much more prepared when you go into an interview with Gregg Popovich. That was a good question. Doesn't sound as good coming from anyone else, because you know when Gregg Popovich says it, he means it. Because typically, his interviews go a little something like this.
Oh, no. Energy level's great. Worst shots in the history of basketball.
NASA discovered all those habitable planets the other day. You guys know about that? 1,200 habitable planets.
Well, 1,200 new.
And then last night, somebody lost a basketball game. Get over yourself.
He's LeBron James. That's what makes him difficult to guard.
How do you feel he's performed in the first quarter?
He's done well.
All right, I feel like I've come out ahead here. Do you want to just end it on this one?
I was looking forward to a second question. Who's the one guy who asked the third question, isn't it? Unless you just get two? My bad. Next guy that misses a free throw, gonna buy me a new car. This is a preseason, right? We got to do this in the preseason? Are you kidding me?
Part of the contract.
In the preseason, we got to do this?
What was your biggest challenge during this preseason?
Oh, my gosh. Getting to the restaurant on time.
How happy were you with the shot selection, even though they came back?
Happy? Happy. I don't know how to judge happy. In the middle of the contest, nobody's happy.
Your thoughts on the third quarter?
We're behind.
What did you like about the way your team played?
The ball went in the hole.
How would you describe tonight's win?
I don't know how you describe a win. It's better than a loss.
They said explore your feelings at the end of the third quarter. So are you? Oh. Thank you, Pops. Appreciate it.
It's been fun.
Yeah, no doubt. Same here.
Hey, Pop, thank you.
It's been a joy.
A joy, always. And he certainly has a historic resume in his head coaching career here. He's on top in terms of his wins. He has the most career victories by any head coach in NBA history. It's unquantifiable, but I would say also one of the most entertaining in-game interviews of all time. The thumb looking all right in warm-ups, nailing those half-court shots.
That's not a half-court shot.
That's almost.
Might need to change.
Almost.
From the logo? How's that? We'll be right back.
Houston Rockets get this series back to San Francisco.
We're fine. Our confidence isn't going to waver any.
You wanted to talking it out.
It's all well and great to talk about. You have to go do something about it. We have an opportunity to write our own story and how we bounce back.
Welcome back to NBA Countdown, presented by Hennessy.
It's been 733 days since the Warriors last clinched a series. That's their second longest drought under Steve Kerr. But Golden State, they are on the brink of finishing off the Rockets, Kendrick Perkins. And if they're going to do so, it might come down to what version of Steph Curry the Golden State Warriors get here. He's averaging over 10 points more in wins than he is in losses this series. So what are you looking at here? How has he been limited at times, and how can he take advantage of it?
Well, the one thing we do know is that the Rockets have a defensive identity, right? And it starts at the wing position, the athleticism, the size. This kid right here, the Thompson twin, 6'7", 200 pounds, but one of the most versatile defenders in the league. Picks Steph Curry up at the half-court line, picks his pocket, throws it down for the slam. Here's another thing. When you talk about how versatile he is, load to touch is what they call it. Look, he sees his man, but his eyes are on Steph. Gets the big block right here on the help side defense. Now, if they want to do something different, I'm going to talk to him and let you know the answer after this.
I mean, it's just that he's never been quite contested like this, as you can see. Yeah. So if they need to make a change, what is that?
Okay, here goes the answer right here. Here goes the answer. Take Steph off the ball. He's great. The best in the game. What, Malika? Moving without the basketball. Look at all this action right here. The screen setting, the cutting, right? Great screen by Jimmy Butler. Great cut by Steph. Great pass. Easy buckets is what's going to help Steph out. And I think they need to do more of it. We saw a lot of it in game 3 in the second half, but they got to do more of it tonight
And
for Steph to be successful.
Absolutely, because when you look at this, that's why off-ball screen actions are so important, because when he has the ball in his hands, he's blitzed more than any other player in the postseason.
And Steven Adams and Şengün, they're so great at moving their feet and trapping the pick and roll. So you're absolutely right.
So those are the keys to the game. If Steph and the Warriors get past Houston tonight, though, Perk, the road, it does not get any easier with Kingslayer Anthony Edwards on the other side. That brings us to who's made for more, brought to you by Hennessy. Anthony Edwards has started to stack up some pretty impressive series wins in his young career, defeating several notable stars along the way. First round last year, that's when Edwards and the Timberwolves swept Kevin Durant and the Phoenix Suns. Of course, Edwards has called KD his idol. He followed that up by taking down the three-time MVP Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets in the 2024 conference semifinals. In the final game of the series, the Timberwolves overcame a 15-point deficit at halftime, the largest halftime comeback in a Game 7 all-time. And then this year, in the first round, he got a huge revenge here against Luka Doncic by eliminating the Lakers in 5. He also sent the NBA's all-time scorer, you know, that guy, LeBron James, home as well. Not too shabby here for a 2-year run. The first round against the Lakers, it marked the 4th time Anthony Edwards averaged at least 25 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists in a series in his career. All other players in Timberwolves history, they've done that twice combined, both by Kevin Garnett. After finishing off the Lakers, LeBron, he had a message for Ant.
Come on now, make the next step. You already know it. Come on. All right.
So if you couldn't hear that, it was LeBron saying, come on, take the next step. Do you think that he will, Bob?
What does that mean?
And no matter who they face next, whether it's the Golden State Warriors or the Houston Rockets, do you think that they get back to the conference finals?
He can. I mean, he's already done it. You know, I look at this kid, or man, he has it all sitting there for him, Malika. He has the game. He has the charisma. He has the appearance. I mean, if you ask kids who do they want to be, you watch this guy. I want to be. I mean, watch how he plays
every
basketball.
Player's favorite player currently.
Player. Why wouldn't it be? Player. By the way, why wouldn't it be? Tell me what he doesn't do. He shoots the three. He gets the basket. His defense, we don't talk enough about. When he wants to guard, oh my, he could be an all-NBA defensive player anytime he wants. They put him on the best player. He was guarding Luka. He was guarding LeBron. So the question is with Malika, it's not often you can look at a player and say there is no ceiling. There is no ceiling for this guy. And I say that as far as his own game and where he takes his team. And he's got that charisma too. You saw his press conference afterwards. He was talking about Gobert as a dragon. You just want to watch him play, and you also want to hear what he has to say. And that combination is powerful.
Absolutely. He's box office. Make no mistake about it. And he has shown signs of being Jordan-esque, there I say. But to be clear, for clarity purposes, the next level is a trip to the finals. Because you were in the conference, you were in the finals last year. You were in the conference finals last year. You ain't getting back to the conference finals. The next step is getting to the finals. He's going in he's had 4 playoff series. He's going against KD and Booker. He's going against Jokic and Murray. He's going against Kyrie and Luka. And now he went against LeBron and Luka. And he's won 3 of those 4 series. And last but not least, he's one of 6 players in NBA history over his first 32 postseason games to average 27, 5, and 5.
Yeah.
The other 5 was Jordan, Oscar Robertson, LeBron James, Tracy McGrady, and Luka Doncic. This brother is special. Make no mistake about it. But if you going home early, people ain't going to notice it as much as they will if you don't go home early.
Well, he said that he wants the Golden State Warriors in this next round just because he says he likes to talk. Well, he said he likes to talk trash with Draymond Green. That's one of the reasons he gave.
He should want Golden State because they'll smack them in the 7-game series due to them being injured. But let me say this. When LeBron told him to take the next step, yes, part of it was talking about advancing in this postseason and in between the lines because he has taken the next step. The next step is being able to get yours and make others around you better.
Yeah, didn't he kind of start to show that in this first round series?
He showed it. Look, this is him earlier in the season right here, right? Look how he's getting trapped, didn't pass the ball. Look at his body language. This is him in the Lakers series, right? Willing, passing the ball with great energy. I'm looking to find you, Naz Reid. Knock down the shot. Look at the celebration afterwards. So he has shown us growth. And shout out to Minnesota Timberwolves coach Finch, because at the start of the season, he put the ball in Anthony Edwards' hands. He said, you be the decision maker. So when LeBron said take that next step, that also went outside of basketball. Yeah. He says, hey, bro, you got that it factor, right? You're knocking off the Giants.
Take it.
KD, Jokic, me. Like, you're not Luka. Like, go embrace it. Why not be the face of the league, right? Clean up some of the areas that you can clean up outside of the lines. That's what LeBron James was telling them, because just like everybody else, LeBron knows and he sees it.
Yeah, and the hardest step for a young player is to learn how to lead.
Mm.
He has to learn, and he's learning that, but he's not there. He's not there.
He's close, Bob.
He's close. Leading requires being uncomfortable. It requires leading on the floor and off the floor, too.
Yeah.
You have to lead at practice. You have to lead on the plane. You have to lead off the floor, and you have to hold your teammates accountable. I don't know. I'm not in that organization. But you're right. He's getting there. I question is he there? That's the next thing.
And the question is he wants it.
Sure.
Wants it. Like he wants to be a leader on the court. You got to want to be a leader, period.
Let me ask y'all a question. Have we seen Julius Randle play better basketball in the postseason?
No, we have not.
I got to give a lot of credit to Anthony Edwards. He gives you that life and confidence. He gave me life talking about him on the damn television.
And now he's going to look to lead the Timberwolves to their first finals appearance in franchise history. Speaking of leadership, I mean, the voice of the Golden State Warriors has been that guy, Draymond Green, and certainly...
He better bring it tonight.
It's going to be him and Şengün that we're going to be watching.
Jokic waiting on you, boy.
They're not going to sit there. What do you want? I'm going to play 28 minutes? Are you kidding me? I want to play 39. But I don't have that problem because of you guys.
The San Antonio Spurs are your world champion.
I tried to think of a word that would describe what this might feel like, and it feels even shush.
1,336 regular season victories.
I have absolutely no clue what you're getting at or what your question means, so I'll just pass on it.
Earlier this morning, the Spurs announced that five-time champion Gregg Popovich will no longer coach the team, instead transitioning to a full-time role as the team's president of basketball operations. Victor Wembanyama, he posted this on social media. 29 years, coach, thank you for your wisdom, your leadership, for the culture you created, but most importantly, for being a great and inspiring person. It was an honor to be a part of those 29 years, wishing you all of the best in your next chapter. But the thing is, Gregg Popovich's legacy, it'll go on far beyond just those 29 years. From those 1,422 regular season victories, 5 NBA championships, 3 Coach of the Year awards. And tonight's matchup really embodies the reach of Popovich, because Warriors coach Steve Kerr and Rockets coach Ime Udoka, they both played for Pop in San Antonio. They both coached under the Hall of Famer as well. Ime with the Spurs, Kerr with Team USA, before eventually taking over the reins for the red, white, and blue. And they both coached against him as well, sharing the sidelines with the man who coached them inside the lines. Before Kerr and Udoka took to their respective benches in tonight's game, which is their biggest of their respective seasons, they took a little bit of time to pay their respects and to reflect on Coach Pop.
Pop is one of the most important people in my life for many, many reasons. And most of them go way beyond basketball. But it's a sad day. It's also an encouraging day, I think, because I think this is a natural transition for him organizationally to move into his next role.
Be up here all night if I told all the stories and all the impact, but obviously as a professional, I played 2.5 years for him, coached 7, so spent 10 years of my life, and but that's probably the least important. It's the person aspect that you talked about, and the daily messages, the lessons that we all learn and think back on, and it's a bittersweet day, obviously, for all of us, but happy he's in a good place, and happy he's good with his family. And so, just a special day, special person, obviously one of the best to do it, or the best to do it, and glad I got a chance to work with him, learn from him, and call him a friend.
I've got a lot of mixed emotions today, mainly just my love for Pop, my empathy for him, for what he's gone through, for the Spurs organization, all of the above. And it's a very, very emotional day for everybody involved. So thank you, Pop. I'll take the shirt off after, and love you, and we'll see you soon.
Those are just two members of a very large coaching tree for Popovich here. You can see Doc Rivers, Mitch Johnson, now the head coach for the Spurs, Mike Budenholzer, Becky Hammon, and many others. The Rockets are looking to make a 3-1 series comeback for the third time in franchise history, and Jalen Green would be a huge catalyst in achieving that. In Game 2, he had 38 points, but in the rest of the 4 games combined, he has only put up 35. So, Perk, what do the Rockets need to do to stave off elimination here and force a Game 7?
Well, one, they need to come out swinging.
Get up early.
Right? No, well, I wouldn't say just get up early, but throw the first punch and don't let the crowd get into it.
Yeah.
Right? And I think continue to hang your hat on the defensive side of things and let the chips fall where they may offensively. You just want to be able to give yourself a shot. And in at the beginning of the fourth quarter, you want it to be a 5-point type game. You know what I mean? Or possession by possession game. That's all.
That's a great overview. For me, it just comes down to Jalen Green. That's what I want to see if I'm the Houston Rockets. I have all the faith in the world that Van Vliet is going to be who he is, that Dylan Brooks is going to be who he is, that Şengün is going to be who he is. What you going to do, Jalen Green? 35 points in 4 games? You're the face of friendship. They're talking about possibly, making moves this offseason and acquiring somebody else. What you going to do about it? You want to be in H-Town? Show up.
Is that just about continuing to take the shot and hope they fall, or is there something that the Rockets need to change to make it a little bit easier here for Jalen?
It's always something that the coach could do to try to make it easier, but at the end of the day, when you come into the series saying that you were a little bit tight, well, you didn't say that after you scored a 38. So you scored 38 when Jimmy Butler goes down, and then suddenly Jimmy Butler gets back in, and you forget how to play offensively. Nah, that's unacceptable. Yeah. Handle your business.
And even look, at this point, we're just asking Jalen Green to have 2 good games.
Yes,
he's had 1.
Yes,
we're not asking for 6. So if you're Houston, yes, that would be great. Jalen Green having a 30-point night would probably be the difference in the game. But what has worked for them is Steven Adams and Şengün together.
Yes.
Can they play that way? Steve Kerr did something interesting. He fouled. He Steven Adams,
which is an all-time line from our
it worked.
Colleague.
It worked. They got him out of the game. So can what's the chess match like there? And then secondly, you talked about getting Curry off the ball. I like the Warriors putting the ball in Jimmy Butler's hands as much as possible because one, he doesn't turn the ball over, and he's a great isolation player. And he's a great passer. And Curry can run around, and they can chase him all over the place and occupy everybody else. Jimmy Butler can score by himself, or he can orchestrate for Curry. So I think I look at those few things.
What did we see T. Lue do last night? He made an adjustment. The adjustment was he put Nicholas Batum in the starting lineup, and it made a huge difference. What adjustment is Steve Kerr going to make today towards the Houston Rockets?
Well, the Warriors, they're going to change their starting lineup as well here. Steph Curry
looks great,
getting some shots up, but Gary Payton II entering the lineup.
My warm-up never looked like that when I played. No.
You can't see Bob's face, but I think he likes that adjustment.
Whatever.
I don't like Dylan Brooks.
Let Prince on my head stunt. Right, Rich? I just did it because Draymond Green wanted all the smoke.
We got to build on this one and go out there, Game 6, and handle business.
I'm heartless because this is hating on me just because I'm the biggest, the largest, the biggest.
Clark, they say that closeout games, they're the hardest ones to win. The Golden State Warriors hosting the Houston Rockets here. This is going to be a tough environment for this young Rocket squad. Game 6 in the Bay. It's going to get hyphy. Stephen A., who you got?
Golden State, the greatest shooter God has ever created, will explode tonight. I do not see Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry wanting to fly back to Houston for a Game 7.
Mm-hmm.
They are experienced. They know what's required, and I think they're going to get it done.
That's Brick's pick.
Yeah. Okay, that caught me off guard a little bit, Malika.
Hey.
I'm going. Oh my goodness gracious! I'm going the Warriors for 3 reasons. I think they got 3 closers. They got that guy. We don't have to continue on that. We know who he is. Jimmy Butler. They call him Playoff Jimmy for a reason. and Draymond Green. And Draymond Green is a closer on the defensive side of the ball, and we saw that in Game 4. He shut down that shot. He made Şengün take a tough shot. So they got 3 guys. Who's going to counter that for your Rockets, your Houston Rockets? Because I know where you're going to go.
Well, actually, not my Rockets, because I picked Golden State to win.
Oh, you did?
Already, and I'm picking them to win this game.
Oh, my goodness.
The role players will play better at home. I'm looking for Buddy Hield, Podziemski, Gary Payton II to have a serious impact on this game tonight. They will win this game, but it will be close.
It's never
like
good
you
when we
mentioned,
all pick
Hield and
the same.
Podziemski. They deserve a lot of credit. Hield and Podziemski. They've had some great moments this season.
Podziemski coming off the bench in this game as Gary Payton II being inserted into the starting lineup. Steve Kerr always tinkers just a little bit. Should I change my pick? I went with the Golden State Warriors too.
This is not. Yeah,
but
this is never good.
It's never good when we all pick the same
never
team.
good.
The intro music, that was a big extra plug. You want to go to the concert with?
All right, this is an A+ game. That means we got our team on
Big
it.
extra plug.
Mike Green, take it away.
Congratulations, man.
Trying to force a Game 7. What will be the biggest obstacle to them doing so, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest obstacle is themselves in terms of their ability to score the ball. You got to score in a game like this. Considering how Golden State plays, particularly at home, the contributions like Perk mentioned earlier in the show, when you talk about Hield, when you talk about Podziemski, you know what Steph Curry's going to bring you. You know what to expect from a Jimmy Butler. What are you going to do to counter that? All you can see that you can depend on is Van Vliet. Şengün could give you something, but that's usually earlier than later. Jalen Green's got to step up and help.
I think in these type of games, on the road, season's over if you lose. What kind of mental fortitude does this Rockets team have? I think I was impressed with what they did in Game 5, how they showed up. Can they do the same type of thing, not blow out the Warriors, but can they bring that confidence that they belong in a game like this to get it back to Houston?
How important is it, Perk, to punch early so that you don't get the chase center crowd sort of behind a Golden State Warriors team when you're young, when you're lacking maybe a little bit of a playoff experience on the road?
It's very important, and you just want to keep the game close. But again, they have an identity defensively, right? That's not going anywhere. But if I'm the Rockets, tonight I want to see a heavy dose of Alfred Şengün, baby Jokic, a heavy dose of him on the low block, pick and roll action, whether that's him making passes or whatever. He's averaging, 21 and 10.5 rebounds, almost 6 assists. So he's doing it all. That's what I would do. I would impose him because nobody really could stop him when he gets going.
He leads the Rockets in total points, rebounds, assists, and steals in this series. He's going to have one of those nights from Alperen Şengün. All right, it's time to get you back to Stephen A's favorite city. We're going back to San Francisco now.
Yes, finally. Yeah.